Okay, before we start on negative exponents, we need to remember that any non-zero number to the 0 power is 1. So if I take any number, raise it to the power of 0, it's going to be 1. So for example, if I took 5 to the 0 power, it's going to give me 1. If I take 15 to the 0 power, it's 1. If I take 100 to the 0 power, it's 1. Okay? Anything that is a non-zero number raised to the 0 power is 1. Yes, as long as it's not 0 raised to the 0. Okay? So the first step today we're going to work on is directions are going to tell you to write expressions using positive exponents. If I have 4 to the negative 4th power, we've done a few of these on board math, so who remembers what we have to do? Done a little bit. What do we do? So this is where we just change them and we put a 1 on top, over, and you make your exponent positive. So by taking it from the top to the bottom, we've now made it positive, but we can't just have nothing on top, so we put a 1 on top. Okay? So what about if I have 5 to the negative 7th power? How am I going to write that using positive exponents? So what has to go on top? 1. What's going to go on the bottom? 5 to the 7th. What about if I have a negative 6 to the negative 3rd power? What would it be? What goes on top? 1 over what? And this negative doesn't go away. Since the number is negative, that still stays negative. The only thing that changes to a positive is your exponent. So it would still be 1 over negative 6, and then change your exponent to a positive, so a positive 3. What about c to the negative 7th? Angel? 1 over c to the 7th. Derek, are you taking notes or are you laying your head down? R to the negative 8. Is that a question, Zeke? What's your question? It would be 1. Good question. R to the negative 8, what is it going to be? 1 over R to the 8th. Okay? Questions on writing it with positive exponents? Okay, the next set of directions are going to tell you to evaluate. What's evaluate mean? Solve. So not only are we going to have to write it with positive exponents, we then have to solve it. So let's look at 5 to the negative second power. So first thing we need to do is write it using positive exponents. So how would I write it using positive exponents? 1 over 5 squared, or 5 to the second. Now I need to evaluate it. I can't have an exponent left. My 1 does not change. What does 5 squared equal to? 25. Remember, it's 5 times 5, not 5 times 2.
So it's just like you're leaving the 1 and you're multiplying the
Yep, you're just getting rid of the exponent on the bottom, so multiplying it out. What about 4 to the negative third power? 1 over 4 to the third. Now I need to evaluate it, so it's really 1 over 4 times 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is what? 16 times 4? 64. So 1 over 64. What about if I have negative 8 to the negative second power? 1 over negative 8 squared. So it'd be 1 over what?
1
Over 64. Positive. Because remember, a negative times a negative, cover them up, gives me a positive left. Right? So whenever you're taking a negative times a negative, you should get a positive. What about negative 5 to the negative third power? So write it using exponents first would be what? 1 over negative 5 to the third. So now I need to evaluate what is negative 5 to the third equal. So negative 5 times negative 5 gives me 25. 25 times negative 5? Positive or negative? Negative 125. Yep. Exponent's odd, it's a negative. Exponent's even, it's a positive. Okay? What about if I tell you to redo what? The exponent part? So the third power, it's a negative, so it's really taking negative times a negative times a negative. Negative times negative gives you a positive. Positive times a negative gives you a negative. So if it's an odd exponent, your answer is negative. If it's an even exponent, your answer is positive. Because we didn't start out with a negative. Yeah, the number would have to be negative for that to work. Yeah, good question though. Hey, write using negative exponent. So now we're going backwards. They're going to give it to you using positive exponent, and you have to write it using negative exponent. Do you have any of this written down, Roman? So if I give you 1 over 9, is there a number that I can take times itself to get 9? 3. So really, do you agree that this is 1 over 3 squared? Okay? So now I need to write it using negative exponent. So I need to go backwards. Okay? So they're already giving me the 1 over the part. So now I need to go backwards to what we had. So how am I going to write this using negative exponents? So before, when I started with this, to get to here, I added the 1 and took away the negative. So now I'm going to take away the 1 and add a negative. So I'm going to have 3 to the negative second power. I'm going backwards on it. Alright, what about 1 over 49? What number times itself gives me 49? 7. So it's 1 over 7 squared. So negative exponent would be what? 7 to the negative 2. What about 1 over f to the 5th power? So they've already given it to me with the exponent. So f to the negative 5th power. Okay, they've already given me the exponent, so all I have to do is make it negative. Angel, that's enough. 1 over m to the 6th. So I would have m to the negative 6. Question. Your assignment is page 111, numbers 22 through 33, 38 through 41, page 112, numbers 79 through 82.